Hi, this is a tutorial showing how to clean up scans and photographs of original drawings and sketches to ensure that they look their best and look as close to the original as possible. The first thing you need to do to get a good scan or photograph is to initially collect as much data as possible. So you want to scan at a high resolution in full color, and in the case of photographs, you want to take a good photograph in good even lighting, usually on go outside on a cloudy day, or take a photograph of your drawing outside in the shade on a sunny day. Get some good even lighting. Don't use the pop-up flash on your digital camera because it creates glare. And just in general, try to get a good amount of light in the photograph. And if it's a digital camera, then if you have the option to take a photograph at a high resolution, do that as well. So then once you have the initial data, open your drawing in Photoshop or whatever your sketch or image is in Photoshop, and then these are some basic, very basic image adjustments that you can make that takes just a quick second to clean up your image and make it look its best so that it looks as close to the original. First of all, if your drawing or sketch happens to be black and white, as in done in pencil or pen and ink or something of that medium, the first thing I would recommend is to take the image in Photoshop and desaturate it, turn it into black and white. So you've scanned it and photographed it in full color. Now you need to go to Image, Adjustments, Desaturate. And what this does is it will pull out any hue shifts that might have occurred when you scanned it, any kinds of overtones. Sometimes different lights cast different tones of color on the paper, which you don't want. So if it's a black and white image in its original form, go ahead and turn it into a black and white image in Photoshop, doing that first initial step. And then following along from there, the tool that fixes a lot of problems is called Levels. So choose Image, Adjustments, Levels. Control or Command L also opens up this palette menu. And then you'll see you have a histogram showing the values in this image. And it also has a preview button. Make sure the preview button is checked so you can see the changes take place as you do them. And so let me move this over so you can see what's happening. Image Adjustment Levels. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, what you want to do is you want to slide these arrows on the histogram so that they are as close to your bell-curved histogram values on the chart as much as possible. And as you can see, what's happening is that it's actually brightening up the image quite a bit when I do that. It's bringing out the whites of the page, and then you can slide the other adjusters until you think it looks right. In general, you want to pull them in close to the beginning and the ending of the histogram so that they approximately hug the histogram on either sides. And then, just drag these around until you think it looks good, and then click OK. Again, to see all that take place, you have to have preview checked, and you can see before and after. The next thing that can do some fine-tune adjusting for you is brightness/contrast. So you can go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness/contrast, and this will additionally help add some whiter whites and add in contrast. And if you have too much contrast, you can pull contrast out of the drawing. This gives you a little bit more things, a little bit more control to play with the value contrast in the image. And then the next thing to look at is the vignetting that's happening in this image. It happens a lot with images shot with cameras, and sometimes you get streaks in scans, but do you see how the image is dark around the outer edges? dark in places and light in other places. It's kind of uneven looking. So what happens when you have darkness around the edge of the image? It's called vignetting, and you can eliminate a lot of that simply by using something called the dodge tool. So you come down here on the toolbar and you pick up the dodge tool, which is usually on the top. It's the little black round ball. And then you get a nice big brush. So we should probably get a brush bigger than this. Go to the brushes palette up top. You can slide the diameter of the brush over a little bit to get a bigger brush. That's pretty good. Set the range to usually midtones is good, and the exposure can be somewhere around 15%. And then you just kind of lightly go over the corners, and as you can see, it's lightening up the corners and taking away the effect of the splotchy dark areas. It's evening out the tones, making the image a little bit more close to the original. Okay, and then of course the last thing you want to do is crop your image. So grab the crop tool, which is also C, drag it around the edges. Now with the crop tool, not only can you pull in around the corners to tighten up your crop, but you can also, if you put the crop tool in the corner, in one of the four corners, move it around until you get a little arrow that has two arrows going off at a corner at an angle. And then with this selected, what you can actually do is click and drag and rotate your crop, such that if your photograph is crooked, you can straighten it out. So I'm going to straighten this out by rotating the crop just a little bit. Let me wait till I get that corner crop, and then pull it in a little bit to crop a little tighter into the image. Click enter, and there we have the finished product. So you can take a look at the before and after. Let me zoom out a little bit and show you before, which is over here, and after, and you can see the big difference in the image quality. It's a lot cleaner and crisper and brighter, and we can see the image more clearly. It's cropped neatly for good presentation. So again, this was just a couple little simple tools you can use to correct any kinds of problems you might have in your scans or your photographs, and it helps us to be able to see your work better as it was in its original form.